Here we go again. I know you guys like sitting around the tailgate telling stories with good buddies, cracking cold ones. No matter if it's hunting season or fishing season, well, so does the Outdoor Drive podcast. So we're going to bring you Tales from the Tailgate. All right, let's drop the tailgate for another great episode from Tales from the Tailgate. This is your boy East Coast Trev, and I'm joined by my good buddy, Mr. Madman Mardick.
You.
What's up, buddy? That's not a very good intro. This is Tales from the Tailgate, dude. You're supposed to be hyped up about this.
Huh?
You're supposed to be
fired up. Let's go.
All right. We got Seth and Tallia here with us. What's up, guys?
Hello.
What's going on?
You guys ready? We're going to drop the tailgate. Hey, Seth, you got your Bud Light over there? You ready to rock and roll?
You know it. I'm going to leave that one alone for now.
I don't think we've had that discussion on the podcast yet, but we'll just leave that one for the rest of them to decide on their own. So the reason we have Seth and Tallia on the podcast is because they had a great double, and Tallia had her first turkey ever. How was
it? Was quite the hunt, that's for sure.
Happened way faster than I think probably one of the coolest things I've experienced.
That's awesome. Well, why don't we crack a cold one, put down the tailgate, and let's talk about it. So start us from the beginning where it started. It was opening day of Rhode Island season, correct?
Yep.
It was. Yes, it was.
So break us into it. What happened? Where did the day start, and where did it end?
So 0 dog 30. We got up. We had a plan. We went and snuck into the blind. We roosted the birds the night before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we had 2 spots, 2 plans, plan A and plan B. We started with plan A. Sun rose. It was a beautiful morning. Birds were chirping. Deer were blowing. And our target bird just decided not to play ball. He was handed up. I was talking to him. He would respond a little bit. Then he shut up, and he wouldn't come in. We gave him, I don't know, it was an hour and a half. Then we gave up, and we moved on to plan B. Right?
Yeah.
We packed up, moved on the road. There was birds already in our spot. And then you can tell the rest.
This impatient one got all angry because he thought we got busted off rip. We did not. I said, give it a second. Let's get in the blind. Keep going. And then, sure as heck, what? Not even 20 minutes later?
No, it wasn't 20 minutes. Not even.
No. He's looking over his right shoulder and he says, there's a bird coming, but I don't know what it is. Don't have the GoPro set up. All of a sudden, not even 6 yards in front of us. Boom. There's mine. And then he shoots one, not even a second after.
It was way more dramatic than that. First of all.
Yeah, I was like, all right, this is supposed to be a 30-minute Tales from the Tailgate. We're about to end this thing in 3 minutes. What? Yeah. Come on.
She left out every ridiculous detail. So we pull into the property. There's a few fields in there, a couple tree lines. We pull in, and the birds are already out in one of the bigger fields. So I park, we run across the field, and there's an opening from an old tractor path. And for sure, I am 100% positive we got busted by a couple birds. Whether they were jakes or hens. Definitely wasn't the strutters that I was going to target, but we got busted by a bird for sure. So I was all, listen, there's a lot of pressure trying to get away for first turkey. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But, so I thought we got busted. I was standing in the decoys, mad as hell. Like, I'm like, yo, I just ruined it. Like, what are we going to do? This is plan B already. But whatever. She's like, just be patient. Like, let's just sit anyway. I was like, fine.
She's telling you to be patient.
Yeah,
yes,
well,
yes, I am. This
isn't her first turkey hunt. This was her first turkey. So I've taken her a few other times, and it's always been a shit show. So I'm aggravated because, I'm trying to get her first bird. I'm sick of bringing her turkey hunting and looking like a fool. So whatever. I think we got busted. I'm standing there where I'm going to put the decoys, mad as hell. She's like, listen, let's just sit down and try it. I was like, fine. You can't kill them on the couch. We're here. Let's do it. So I put the decoy out, and then I'm looking at the blind. I'm looking at the spread, and I'm like, you know what? These birds, if they saw us or whatever, they're not going to see the decoy unless they get too far away. I ended up moving the decoy to like 6 yards in front of the blind. That way the way this field is set up, if they hit that tractor path, they'd have a straight line of sight. Instead of putting it at like 20 to 25 yards like normal, I put it at 6, just so that way they could see the decoy better. Well, whatever. I wait. We get into the blind. Trying to be patient. She's calming me down, saying, listen, you can't kill him on the couch. Just be patient. It'll happen if it's meant to be. And I'm here mad, right? I'm just mad. I'm like, yo, we're wasting time. Whatever. I break out the nor'easter calls, and I'm like, just give it a few minutes just in case we did get busted. So I start striking a pot call after like 10 minutes. Maybe 10 minutes. And I get no response. Now I'm re-mad. I'm mad again. I'm like, shit, I knew it. We got busted. But whatever, I stayed with it. Did they gobble at first?
No, they didn't gobble at all.
Yeah, they didn't gobble at all. So
They
after
called like 3 times.
So after a couple minutes of calling, I look over. I saw something brown out of the corner of my eye. In that tractor path, I saw a turkey moving, but I thought it was a hen. I was pretty confident it was a hen, so I didn't even like touch the camera. I went right back down to calling. Didn't even give it a second thought. I was like, "There's a bird coming. I think it's a hen." Whatever. So I look back down. I start working a pot call again. She's like, "Nope, it's a tom." By the time I picked my head up, that bird was already at 15 yards and on a string, but came in silent. So she's like, "Nope, it's a tom." I look up, he's there at 15 yards. And then, I mean, all in all, it was like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What happened? So then he was at 15 yards. I look up, I turn the main camera on, I pick it up off the ground. I have the striker and the pot call in my mouth. I have the pot call in one hand, the camera in the other. GoPro didn't get turned on. Still mad about that. And now the bird's in the decoys, and there's another strutter right behind them, and they came in running. They came in running. It was a rush, but they jumped on that decoy like nobody's business. Now I know her, so good thing the camera's already running because she's not going to give it a second. She don't care about the film. She wants her bird. So the camera's on. I get on the bird, and before I could even like collect my thoughts, she already busted that thing.
He was on top of the decoy too, and kicking the shit out of it.
Yep.
What were you using her decoy, Seth?
In the hasty setup, I just threw out the Jake with the real fan, the strutter Jake, and lay down hen. Okay. A breeder hen, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was it.
And they wanted to absolutely massacre that thing.
Dude, they came in and they jumped right on it. Didn't hesitate. They didn't, like, sometimes they come in aggressive, but they'll stop and they'll start strutting.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't strut. They didn't gobble. They came in and jumped on it, like running, full speed. Honestly, out of all the years of turkey hunting, I've never seen a pair of birds react like that.
You see that like a ton, like on Facebook or Instagram, the pictures of them coming down through the field and they just bombard it. But you don't ever really see that in person. Like you said, they come in, they'll peck at it, and then they'll jump on it. But from what you're describing, they just straight Komodo dragon that thing.
Yeah.
Literally. And that's happened to me. They come in, they puff up, they strut around, they flex on them. And then they're, like you said, then eventually after they'll get aggressive and they'll pick up their legs and they'll strike it or whatever. But I've never seen them react like that so quickly. No hesitation. It was to see a bird that aggressive was wild. If he was gobbling, it would have been even better because he was in our lap.
Talia, what was going through your head as this is all happening and transpiring? Because obviously Seth's not paying attention at all.
It was so close that, I just didn't want to miss the bird. It was so close right in front of my face. I was nervous. I was shaking. I was like, holy shit, it's actually happening. This is going to be my first bird. And, in that moment, you're just so anxious, but you're so excited at the same time that you don't really know how to feel. And then it's over in a split second and you're just kind of in like a haze of, wow, that just happened. That really just happened. And that was really freaking cool. So that's the best way I can describe it. I'm shaking afterwards. I'm looking at him. I'm like, what? Like that just happened. So it was crazy.
And you started, which was kind of cool to me, was like with a 410, like you got a 410 and shot it, sighted it all in, and then was able to kill with that gun. Yeah,
that thing. I don't think I would want to go on a turkey hunt with anything else other than that thing.
That thing is
That thing's sweet. It's so comfortable. It's so light. And I mean,
I had bought her a 20 gauge a couple seasons ago for this purpose, for duck hunting and turkey hunting. But with the turkey shells through it, even though it's a semi-automatic, even with the turkey shells, it packs a good punch. That 410 is
a breeze.
Just as lethal, if not more, with that TSS. And I mean, it's so comfortable to shoot. So light.
So comfortable.
So she's able to use that so much more comfortably.
So after Tallia had shot her bird, Seth, you doubled up.
So gun goes off. I got the camera in one hand, call in another, striker in my mouth. She blasts that thing and drops it right. I mean, honestly, I've never killed a bird that close either. It was being there on the side of it happening was just as wild as me shooting mine. But so she blasted that bird. She looked at me, I looked at her, and I was like, oh shit, there's another bird. So I tried to hand her the camera because it didn't even have it on the tripod at the time. But I switched it to my left hand and tried to hand it to her, but she wasn't reacting fast enough because she still got the gun in her hand. Like, holy shit, I just killed a bird. So I just left it in my hand. I reached down and grabbed the shotgun, shouldered it, striker still in my mouth, and the other one was starting to run away. But I mean, so he must. I shot him twice. The first shot was probably 35 yards. And the second was probably 40, 45. And I'm camera in one hand, I'm trying to film, and I shouldered the gun up, bang, bang. And that was it. I mean, honestly, it sounds like it's downplayed, but it was the most chaotic experience of my life.
It really was. It really was.
In the turkey woods anyway, for sure.
Especially to put him that close to the blind. I mean, 6 yards. I mean, dude, I couldn't even imagine. That's one thing about hunting out of a blind. For the first time last year, I hunted out of a blind, and the stuff that you can get away with in the turkey woods in a blind is astronomical. I'm like mind blown what you can do movement wise.
So I'm a big blind hunter anyway. We've talked about that for deer hunting, but so it was natural and easy for me to turn that into turkey hunting. Mm-hmm. But especially bringing my daughter or bringing Tallia out, trying to get her bird, and it's honestly for what we're doing and trying to accomplish, especially filming. It's a no-brainer for me. You know what I mean? Even if I'm running a gun, and I'll put the blind on my back.
And then pop it up and hunt out of it?
Yep.
That's crazy. Couldn't even imagine doing that.
It's just the extra weight you're walking around with isn't worth the convenience after the fact. Mm-hmm. Especially with camera gear and the tripod and calls. I can put the calls on my feet. I can sit in a chair. You know what I mean? It's just so much more convenient when applicable. If I can use a blind, I will, for sure.
So, Seth,
Trevor.
Oh, go ahead.
Me and Trevor actually just talking about that yesterday, I think, on the phone. I've got nothing against blinds at all, but I just don't use them. And I don't use decoys. I just prefer to run and gun, bare minimum. But now trying to self-film turkey hunts, I think I'm going to be using a blind, and I think I'm going to be putting decoys out because, when you're running and gunning, especially in the hardwoods, you try to aim the camera where you think it's going to go down. It never goes down where you think it's going to go down. So having a decoy out and being able to be in a blind, I think you see how it's hard enough to film from a blind with decoys, let alone without them.
100%. I've been on 3. So I was on 3 successful turkey hunts this season. Between me and Tallia, my Massachusetts bird, and I brought my father out. All 3 of them were in a blind. Some I set up the morning of, some I set up prior to, and all 3 had problems trying to film. Not a single time was it all smooth sailing as far as hunting, killing, and filming. Mm-hmm. The turkeys are just so. Deer, it's a lot slower sometimes, unless it's the rut and you got to run and buck. It's so much slower. They coming in on a run usually. You have time to react. The turkey, when it happens, it's happened. Unless you see him coming down a field edge, 100 yards out. But in all 3 of our instances, in our successful hunts, it was happening.
Mm. So after you guys killed the birds, Tallia, what was kind of like going through your mind as you step out of the blind and you go to this bird for the first time, being your first turkey?
Honestly, I was nervous he wasn't dead at first, so I gave him a little poke to make sure.
Dead. That thing was dead before it hit the ground.
He kept saying that it was dead as a doornail, but every single time I go up to it, no matter what we're hunting, whether it's deer, a duck, I'm like, did I actually hit it or is this like fake? So I don't know, maybe it's self-doubt, but it was so exhilarating to walk up to that thing. First of all, seeing how huge it was a massive bird. And to be my first bird and of that size, that I was just so excited that, not only I got my first bird, but we doubled up as,
Yeah, that was my first double.
That was awesome. It was my first successful turkey hunt. We doubled up together, and I mean, I was just so happy to even be involved. I was just so happy to be there. So,
well, about time he decided to put you on a bird instead of taking them all for himself, right? So, Seth, you also killed a really good bird in Massachusetts.
Yep.
Kind of take us through that hunt.
So, that was also opening day in Mass. I took both days off, the opener for Mass and the opener around. I scouted pretty heavy prior to. And I was watching this bird for about a couple weeks prior to opening day. The night before, I was on the phone with you as I roosted the bird, actually. That was when I was talking to you. I was like, dude, the strut is right there. I roosted the birds. I went to where I thought they were hanging out during the day, set up a blind in the dark, in the rain, my Crocs.
Well, when you had set it up, they were coming in on you.
They were going to roost right where I thought they were going to set. I was going to set up the blind. So I had to back out, wait for them to go roost, and then go back in the dark and set up the blind. So I did that, tied it all off, went back the next morning with Louis, and by 7:15, that bird was dead. That was quite a cluster of a hunt as well.
Why?
Well, so as you guys know, but for all the listeners, so whatever, it's Mass opening day. It's our first hunt of the season together. So we're in the blind, and now I'm confident, which, as you guys know, when you're confident in a hunt, things usually go much more successful. So I know this bird's been in the area consistently. So like, I know if we're just patient enough, he's gonna give us a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he gobbled on the roost. Once he flew down, he gobbled once, and that was it. So he flew down by like 5:30, 5:40 in the morning. We thought that's what it sounded like. And then that was it. He shut up. So we started talking to him a little bit. No response. But now it's opening day, so we're still patient. You know what I mean? We're not antsy yet. Come 6 o'clock, 6:15, a hen strolled in. She started hanging out in the decoys. She moved through, I don't know, 6:45. Another hen came in. Now I'm getting worried because I don't see the tom anywhere. And I think these are the hens that he's been hanging out with. So whether they were already bred and they moved on and they were separate from him or what, but so now we're getting towards 7 o'clock, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of the blind window, I can see a strutter in the field. We were set up in this little wood patch with field all around us, and so we didn't have great visibility in the field, but just enough we could see the fan. So we called a little bit, but luckily those hens had just come through, so like you can't beat a live decoy, you know. He had good line of sight of our decoys. So after, maybe 15, 20 minutes later, he starts working his way in. So now it's opening day, first day of this first hunt of the season for both of us. So now we're getting amped up. I brought out my 20 gauge 1100 with the Saddies TSS loads. Now I've never killed a bird with this gun, so I'm excited. Bird's coming in on a string. I wish he was gobbling just for the excitement factor, but he's strutting the whole way. So we got the most beautiful footage for about 50 yards. Once he broke the corner, the tree line, this bird's strutting, coming in on a string. I mean, the sunlight was hitting him. He was reflecting in the light. It was gorgeous. It was all 4K. It was picture perfect. He came into the decoy, and now instead of being aggressive like Tallia's bird, he started strutting, and he started doing a circle around the Jake. This decoy spread, I had the Jake decoy out with the breeder hen and a feeding hen. And he's doing like a figure 8 through the decoys, right? Always around the breeder hen and that Jake. He kept circling them. And now we talked to each other, Louie and I, and we're like, He's like, wait, let's get some good footage. So I'm sitting there, I'm on the bird, but I'm not shooting. I'm letting the camera work and letting him strut. And finally, I can't take it anymore. I'm like, all right, you ready? He's like, yep. Bang! Drop that thing like a bad habit. As soon as I pulled the trigger, the camera freaked out and just like it reset. It went, Sony came on the screen, it went black, and it reset. So, granted, we still don't know what happened. This has never happened to us turkey hunting before. I think the barrel of the gun was too close to the camera, and the concussion shut it off. But moral of the story is we lost the kill shot. We lost all the footage leading up to the kill shot. And I was devastated.
Come on. So everything disappeared?
So everything we had up to when he pressed record on that Tom coming in, we have. But as soon as he pressed record, that last segment is gone.
Wow. I've never heard of anything like that happening.
We've been turkey hunting for years together. For at least 4 or 5 seasons, we've turkey hunted successfully, and that's never happened to us. That's the first time using that gun and that choke. I don't know if it's because it's not ported. I have no answer. I have no idea. We can't figure it out. It's just, that's the only guess I can come up with, is that it was just too close, and the concussion from it going off. I don't know, but so that was terrible. That thing dropped.
Was Louis on he was on your right or your left?
My right.
So that's the side where the action is, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But it's pretty
good. He was just as close. So Tallia's bird and my double, we were just as close. In that same blind the year before, when I got my solo double 2 years ago, the camera never went off. I mean, different gun. So I don't know if that gun's just got a particular crack to it or what. Dude, I have no idea.
Must have been the Saddies.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll tell you what, those Saddies dropped that bird like a bad habit.
Ooh, boy, do they roll them up, huh?
They hit them hard.
22 yards. Drop.
Jesus. So that was your first Massachusetts bird?
Yep. And the first bird using Saddies TSS.
That's awesome. So, and kind of what was your thoughts after you killed this bird? Because I know it was kind of a cluster.
Well, I'm not going to lie. That's one of the downfalls to filming. I mean, we were so excited to have everything happening so perfect. Like, we had all, it's not very often in turkey woods that you get all the camera angles running, everything's, picture perfect like that in a wide open area too. So like everything was just going so right. As soon as I touched that gun off and watched immediately following the camera freaking out, it definitely ruined the moment. I'm not going to lie. I mean, our high of first opening day out of state for both of us. He's killed mass birds before, but you know what I mean? It's just like that high was definitely brought down a little bit. And I'm not proud to say that. I wish it didn't happen that way, but I mean, it fixed, by the time I went over there and grabbed that bird, it was still an enjoyable moment, but I was definitely upset because of the footage.
That is one negative. Like, when we youth hunt, one of the things, like, this year, the youth ends up killing a bird, and then we were working a second bird, and then we called it off, kind of, or we're kind of, not called it off, but we were kind of glad that it didn't happen, because, like, what if he had missed or whatever, because you can take away from that moment almost instantaneously when something goes wrong, and that's what happened to you, you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
That's a negative about the filming aspect, like, if you don't get it on camera or whatever the case may be, and then it just kind of takes away from that moment.
Yeah, I'd almost rather miss the footage than have the perfect footage and it get erased like that and some freak accident.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
it's part of filming. It's part of filming.
Yeah.
When I killed my big Ohio deer, the recovery, we had lost that footage, and it kind of sucked because you're trying to put everything together. I just killed the biggest buck of my life, and not being able to have it on film.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'd lose it knowing you went through all that extra steps and extra work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely sucks. But hey, it was a successful hunt, anyways.
That it was. Speaking of the filming too, now that we're talking about it, Talia has never hunted without a camera on it.
Really?
Her first deer, her first doe, her first buck, her first duck, and her first turkey have all been on film.
All been on film. Wow, that's awesome.
So her first bow kill, her first deer ever. I have the footage. It's complete, beginning, middle, and end. So I'm very thankful for that. And what's awesome about that is that we can watch it whenever, and we've watched it hundreds of times.
Yeah.
Right. So like, that's worth it because we'll have that memory forever. You know what I mean? But looking back now, I remember her shooting her first deer, and I had that camera in my face, looking. You know what I mean? And I'm recording it. So it's definitely a double-edged sword. And then her first buck, her first bow kill for her first buck. What was it? The SIM card?
Yeah.
Or I didn't. Was it a SIM card, or I couldn't press record fast enough?
No, you put a card in the camera.
So I charged the camera and replaced the SIM cards, but I forgot. I had the wrong card in my pocket, or something happened. The buck walks out, and I press record, and nothing's happening. By the time I realized that the record's not going on, she had already shot the deer.
That's why you were so quick to start filming when the turkey came in, because you knew exactly what was about to happen.
She doesn't communicate nothing. She comes to full draw and shoots the thing. I'm like, whoa.
She's not there to film. She's there to kill. She's a killer, not a filmer.
But I almost feel bad that, all these firsts for her in the hunting world, and she's got a camera in her face every time.
Right.
But on the opposite side of that, we have all those.
We can sit down and Emma can watch all these memories with us. And
yeah. Her first wood duck, her first duck ever was a wood duck. We got that on camera. Her first deer and her first turkey.
Yeah, that's the best thing about filming, is going back and watching those memories. The other day, I went through and watched all of our YouTube videos, all on our YouTube channel, of all of our hunts that we've done in the past, just to watch them, because they're just fun to watch, and I mean,
relive that moment.
Yeah, just for ourselves, that's the most important thing. So
it's fun to reminisce.
It is. That's what the Tales of the Tailgate is all about, is sitting around the tailgate telling the stories. But if you have the film to back it up, it's even better.
Agreed.
Well, congratulations to the both of you guys on both of your birds. It's absolutely awesome, and hopefully Tallia keeps knocking stuff down.
Agreed.
For everybody else, thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.